Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. Purdue versus Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Badgers are flexing their muscle this season with a ground game that's hard to stop, averaging a solid 155.5 rushing yards per game and racking up an impressive 622 yards on the ground overall. Their defense is even more impressive, ranking 15th in Division I for plays participated, which highlights their resilience and grit under pressure. With 3 recovered fumbles and 2 interceptions already, this squad knows how to make plays when it counts. While there's still room for improvement in their scoring and passing yardage, the Badgers are consistently moving the chains, controlling the clock, and keeping the game in their hands. This is a team that's built on a solid foundation, and as they fine-tune their strategies, they're poised to make a significant impact as the season wears on. On the other hand, the Purdue Boilermakers are limping through this season. Despite putting up 1,288 total yards, they're only averaging 21.8 points per game, a stat that screams inconsistency. Their offense has been lackluster, with just 7 passing and 5 rushing touchdowns. To make matters worse, Purdue has been careless with the ball, turning it over 6 times, and their discipline on the field is costing them. With 33 penalties for a whopping 368 lost yards, they're practically handing games over to their opponents. Defensively, while their pass defense ranks an impressive 13th nationally, allowing just 156.8 passing yards per game, their run defense has been downright dreadful. They're giving up a shocking 242 rushing yards per game and have already allowed 12 rushing touchdowns. To top it off, they rank a miserable 117th in opponent scoring, conceding 33 points per game. Purdue's weaknesses are glaring, and it's clear they're in for a rough ride against a Wisconsin team that can exploit those vulnerabilities on both sides of the ball. Purdue's track record against the spread, ATS, is nothing to write home about either. They've managed to cover in only 3 conference games since 2023, and as underdogs, they've covered just 4 of their last 12 games. When both teams have equal rest, Purdue has only covered the spread in 2 of their last 10 matchups. Given these dismal stats, it's hard to see them keeping up with the Badgers. All signs point to Wisconsin dominating this game, and I'm confidently picking Wisconsin to cover the -14 spread. Now let's talk totals. This Big Ten showdown is shaping up to be a low-scoring affair, and betting the under looks like the smart play. Purdue has hit the under in 6 of their last 12 games as underdogs, and since 2023, 3 out of 5 games as away underdogs have also gone under. Wisconsin has shown a similar trend, with 2 of their 3 home games this season staying under the total. If you look back even further, 10 of their last 17 games have hit the under, including 7 of their last 10 home contests. With both teams demonstrating strong defensive capabilities and a history of low-scoring games, I'm rolling with the under 45 points as the safer bet here. So, take Wisconsin -14 points and lock in the under 45 points. This game has all the signs of a classic Big Ten grind. UCLA versus Penn State. These 2 programs haven't seen each other in over 5 decades, with their last clash dating all the way back to 1968. But while history is fun, what really matters is what's going down now. And the UCLA Bruins are coming into this one with some serious issues. The most glaring, quarterback Ethan Garbers was nowhere to be found at practice through Wednesday, save for some time on a stationary bike. This is a massive red flag for UCLA's offense, which has already been on shaky ground over the last 3 weeks. And now, they're facing their 3rd consecutive ranked opponent, a challenge that might break Deshaun Foster's squad early in the season. The Bruins might have fared a bit better away from home, but this is no ordinary road test. It's their first venture into Big Ten territory, and they're walking into one of the most intimidating venues in college football, Beaver Stadium, home of the Penn State Nittany Lions. To make matters worse for UCLA, Penn State comes into this game healthy, well-rested, and hungry. After a subpar offensive showing last week, the Nittany Lions will be looking to get back on track, and at home, they've averaged a rock-solid 37 points per game. With all their key players in the mix and a roaring home crowd behind them, Expect Penn State to come out swinging, steamrolling UCLA's shaky defense right out of the gate. Prediction: Penn State minus 28 points. The Nittany Lions are going to make this one look easy. Now, let's talk totals. While these teams have seen the under hit in 6 of their combined 8 games this season, things could shake out a little differently here. UCLA's defense has been in absolute freefall, giving up a brutal 36.7 points per game over their last 3 contests. Penn State, meanwhile, has already hit 34 points in 3 games this season, and with their potent rushing attack and QB Drew Aller ready to sling it if needed, they're poised to put up big numbers once again. After being held to just 21 points last week, this Nittany Lions squad is primed for a breakout, and don't be surprised if UCLA chips in a couple scores of their own. The over 46.5 points. That's the smart play in this one. Expect Penn State to light up the scoreboard and UCLA to contribute just enough to push it over. Missouri versus Texas A&M. The Missouri Tigers hit the road for their first away game of the season, and after a well-timed bye week, they'll be primed and ready to face the Texas A&M Aggies. Sitting at a flawless 4-0, the Tigers have proven they can win in any scenario, whether they're dominating opponents or grinding out close victories when they're not at their best. Offensively, they've been a force, ranking 36th in passing and 26th in rushing. Teams simply haven't been able to handle the dynamic duo of quarterback Brady Cook and electrifying wide receiver Luther Burden III. On the other side, Texas A&M has found new life with quarterback Marcel Reed, who's 3-0 since taking over the reins. But let's be real, his performance last week against Arkansas wasn't exactly eye-popping. He threw for less than 170 yards. The Aggies have leaned heavily on their rushing game, but here's the kicker. Missouri's defense ranks 19th in the nation against the run. That spells trouble for A&M, especially if Reed can't generate much through the air. The smart play here: Missouri plus 2 points. The Tigers have the firepower and the defense to handle business on the road. Now, let's talk totals. Texas A&M's ground game is sure to chew up the clock, leading to long, drawn-out drives. Missouri's defense is stout enough to bend without breaking, likely forcing the Aggies into settling for field goals more often than they'd like. On the flip side, Mizzou's offense might come out a bit sluggish after their bye week, especially given their recent trend of lower-scoring affairs. The Tigers have hit the under in 4 of their last 5 games, and the Aggies have gone under in 2 straight and 4 of their last 6. The play on the total: take the under 48.5 points. Expect a grinded-out game where defense and time management win the day. Tulane versus UAB. Last season, these 2 teams squared off for the first time in 3 years, and Tulane's powerhouse running back, Mekhi Hughes, ran wild with 2 touchdowns, leading the Green Wave to a 35-23 victory. That game felt like a preview of what we could expect in 2024, and it's looking like more of the same is coming. This year, the Blazers have shown they can rack up yards, but converting those numbers into points has been a different story. Meanwhile, Tulane has had no such issues, with 10 touchdowns on the ground and another 9 through the air. The Green Wave has been rolling, and back-to-back dominating performances suggest they'll continue that trend against a division rival that struggled to find its footing in 2024. My pick here is clear: Tulane minus 18 points. The Green Wave is simply on another level. Both teams have been lighting up the stat sheet in terms of yardage. Tulane is averaging a solid 424 yards per game, and UAB isn't far behind with 381. But here's the catch: the Blazers' defense has been leaking like a sieve, allowing over 30 points per game in their last 3 contests. That sets the stage for a high-scoring affair, with Tulane likely to put up big numbers once again. When it comes to totals, the trends are telling. The Green Wave has seen the under hit in 6 of their last 10 games, but when facing unranked opponents in 2024, they've averaged a whopping 46 points per game. On the flip side, UAB has hit the over in half of their last 10 games, but with a defense that's allowed 31 points per game in their last 5 home contests, including a weak showing against Alcorn State. This one has shootout written all over it. Keep it simple. Take the over 52.5 points. Expect a high-octane battle with plenty of fireworks on the scoreboard. Western Michigan versus Ball State. Get ready for an electrifying showdown as the Western Michigan Broncos take on the Ball State Cardinals in what promises to be one of the most competitive matchups of the weekend in college football. On paper, these teams may appear evenly matched, but history tells a different story. The Broncos have dominated this rivalry, boasting a 2-0 record against the Cardinals over the past 2 years with a staggering combined score of 79-54. The offenses know how to light up the scoreboard in these clashes, and this game should be no different. While both teams sit at 1-3, the Broncos have faced a tougher schedule and consistently kept their games competitive. If quarterback Hayden Wolff can protect the ball and allow Western Michigan's ground game to flourish, expect the Cardinals to stumble to a surprising 1-4 record on the season. My prediction: Western Michigan to cover the spread at -9.5 points. Defensively, both teams have been struggling, which sets the stage for a potential scoring bonanza. Historically, this rivalry has favored the over, with an impressive 8-2 record in their last 10 meetings dating back to 2014. The last 3 contests have averaged a jaw-dropping total of 66 points. For the Broncos, the over has hit in 5 of their last 10 games, with their defense allowing an average of 30 points per game in their last 6 road outings. The Cardinals mirror this trend, also hitting the over in 5 of their last 10 games, but they've been particularly vulnerable this season, surrendering an alarming 49 points per game. With both offenses ready to shine and a lack of defensive prowess, expect a thrilling game where points will come in bunches. Keep it simple and take the over. Final prediction: over 55.5 points.